Hello everyone, it's RASAVONWERDER, and I'm telling as a catharsis, and I want to get it out of my system. I don't know if I'll have enough time to tell all my stories in writing, in books. I've already written and published 20 books. I'm getting old. I'm 73 years old. I remember the last time I made videos here on YouTube was a long time ago. It was 2007, 2008, and I made like 400 videos and got about 4 million hits in a year. I was promoting a lot then. I would spend 1 day a week promoting all day, but I don't know if I'll do that now, but I'm just going to get it all out. And I'm just going to get the incidents out that are traumatic and painful, and I'll tell you other things, but a lot of other things are neither here nor there. They're facts, but they're not like exciting or interesting. The traumatic things are, it's like you look for action. I'll tell you the actions, some of the actions that were done to me, against me, and that in some ways made me strong, in some way made me suffer, but made me strong. And I'm going to tell you a very strong incident. When I was about 6.5 to 7.5 years old, my family and I lived in Newark, New Jersey, in a mostly Lithuanian area, an ethnic area, where we were refugees, by the way. We came from Germany. My parents were in Lithuania. They escaped Stalin. They went to Germany. I was born in Germany. We came here. And we ended up in a Lithuanian community, a couple of different ones. So at this point, we were living in a community, and we had a house. We rented a house. And in the backyard were cobblestones. Now, you know what cobblestones are like. You mostly see the old movies with round cobblestones in the 1700s and so in Europe. These were square cobblestones. And I remember, this will illustrate the way I was, even before they began a concerted, concentrated, really pre-planned campaign of abuse against me, my mother and her Confederates. This is even before that, and you already see that there is abuse rampant here. But when I explain it, and of course I was totally unaware, it took me years to understand. Now, my brother's name was Jimmy. His real name is Gintautas. That's Lithuanian, Gintautas. But they changed it to Jimmy or James for Americans, because Americans can't pronounce Gintautas. Now, my brother was almost 3 years older than me, so if I'm 6.5, he's like 9.5, 10. He's almost 9.5 if I'm 6.5. So I remember he got himself a stick. It was kind of like this. I found this in my backyard somewhere. Kind of like this. And somebody gave him a whittling knife, a knife you whittle with, And I remember looking at him for 2 days, all day. He was whittling, making it into a spear. And he had this, to me, strange smile on his face, like he was plotting something. Well, he was plotting something. And he was getting a great deal of pleasure. Now, brothers are notorious. They really are. They're, even brothers who turned out to be wonderful men, they are notorious for being extremely cruel, mean, mischievous, and evildoers when they were kids. And my brother was like that as well. But 90% of his hate was targeted on me because I was smaller and younger and not as capable of defending myself as some other people in the family might be. So he's sitting there 2 days whittling this stick. And at the end of, when he's got it into a spear, he's now made a spear out of this stick. And understand my personality, I've always been and always will be, I guess, a gung-ho type of a person. A person you can get to do daring and sometimes outrageous things. Things that are maybe dangerous, or maybe not dangerous, or maybe risky. Let's say risky, maybe, is the word. And he says to me, hey, Raza, I want to challenge you. He didn't use the word challenge, but you know, that was the meaning. I want to challenge you to see if you can do something that's difficult, but I want to know if you would do it. You take this stick, and you hold the sharp end of it towards yourself, and you point it at the cobblestones, and put it as close as you can to the cobblestones, and run as fast as you can. And I want to see how far you can go, how fast you can run, and don't let the cobblestone stop the stick. I go, oh yeah, I could do that, sure, I could do that. So I start running, and I run, and I run, and I run. And all of a sudden, the stick hits a cobblestone, and the spear goes into my body. And it goes through my upper thigh, my leg. What my brother was trying to do was impale me. You know, like Vlad the Impaler, you know, the famous Vlad Castle, you know, the torturer, the impaler. He killed 20,000 people, and he impaled them on stakes to warn others not to invade their area. My brother was trying to fix it so that this stick would go into my vagina and impale me. My brother, Jimmy. He's dead now. He can't sue me. He can't say anything. Now his relatives, you know, some relatives might say something. If you do, refute what I said. I'm telling the truth. I've told them, I've had relatives who don't want me to tell my story on YouTube or anywhere in any book. They want me to forget the past. So I tell them, well, refute me. If I am not telling the truth, write a book and tell the truth. If I am not speaking the truth, make a video and tell the truth. But they're scared. They're scared. They're scared to expose themselves as the ones who did things to me, you know. So they want a cover-up. Now, I was not even taken to the doctor because my mother knew my brother set me up and he might be questioned. So she defended my brother. And the wound on my leg was so bad that there was a scab that was like 1.5 inches thick. And it was across my whole leg. The stick went through my leg, almost completely through. Had it hit my intestines, I could have died of blood poisoning and would have, probably, unless God saved me by a miracle. I could have died of blood poisoning because then if it goes into your bowels, you know, your bowels contain bacteria and that gets into your blood. And a psychic told me not long, you know, a few years ago, a psychic told me, you had a wound when you were a child that could have killed you. That was my brother. My mother covered up for him. My mother cared about him, not as much about me. And that is even before they started to really abuse me. So that's one incident. My brother the Impaler, Vlad the Impaler, would-be Impaler. Okay? So there you go. An action story. This thing won't go off.